This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas.
Hi, Dr. Nude.
Yes.
We are live.
We don't have the intro music?
It just played.
Oh, I didn't hear it. Okay. Okay, live. Your host from the Milky Way galaxy, from a land named Seth, from whence came Jesus, is your host, Dr. Robert J. Newton on Solution Revolution. So, hey, namaste. Let's get ready to rumba. I never did it like that before, Rebel. Okay. This is a backed by popular demand, by acclaim. I am here again and resurrecting the show Solution Revolution from the ashes. So I'm going to explain about that. But before I do that, I'm going to sing a little intro song. What's it all about, Alfie? Is it just for the moment we live? What's it all about? Well, I'll tell you what it's all about. But I came up with this song, so I had the joy of listening to Burt Bacharach last night in a live concert that was recorded. And it blew my mind how, so I'm into all kinds of music, probably country the least, even heavy metal, like really heavy metal, like Nine Inch Nails, Downward Spiral, Rage Against the Machine, Linkin Park, the early Metallica stuff, things like that. Not Ozzy Osbourne, though. A little bit too pretentious for me. Anyway, so, and I was amazed at the way he was playing the piano, the subtle chord changes, and the way things connected together, the phrasing of it, and he was even singing parts of some of his songs, which is pretty cool for someone 94 years. I don't use the word old, but a man of 94 years. And he looked damn good, too. And he played damn good. He wrote a lot of songs for a lot of really famous people, including Dionne Warwick, Dusty Springfield. Oh, damn, what's that one now? I can't think. Anyway, very prolific, and his lyricist was Hal David, and so they were a great team. I don't know if Hal David's around anymore. Probably not. Anyway, so what's it all about? Okay, what's resurrection all about? It's about the phoenix. This is one aspect of it. And if you look at the banner. If you've seen the banner for the show with that sun, that's an actual sun that I shot in Santa Barbara about 8 years ago. It was an overcast day. There was a storm coming through on and off. The surf was really big, and I was pissed off because I'm a surfer and I didn't have my board with me. But if I had my board with me, wouldn't have gotten these cool pictures. So anyway, that picture has not been photoshopped or anything like that. It's completely au natural, if you will. And we are taking your questions and comments, so please share. share such. I'm going to do the show in such a way because I'm trying to get a wider exposure to it. I'm going to be asking a lot of questions, and I'm going to be changing things like the jab that was so popular. I call it Novid. I'm going to be doing all kinds of things. It's going to stretch my creativity. But if I ask more questions, it's less preachy. And I think in the past iterations of the show, I would get kind of preachy, and I don't want to be like that. I don't like being preached to, so why should I do it to you? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So resurrection has to do, one of the aspects has to do with the phoenix. The phoenix is considered by most people to be a mythical bird, okay, a giant mythical bird. In fact, one of my mentors, not in person, but I studied him in college in my rhetoric classes at Cal State Fullerton back in the late 1960s. Plato talked about the phoenix. He says, I have not seen the phoenix myself, but the people of Phoenicia says that the phoenix every 500 years will consume itself in its flames and be reconstituted. Okay. Reconstituted, reformed. Okay. And so you might say, well, this is kind of weird, right? And I would say, yeah, it is kind of weird, except it's not kind of weird when you consider, listen to this now, because I've done a lot of research for my book that's out on Amazon. This one, In the Shadow of a Master, The Unknown Chronicles of Jesus and Mary Magdalene, available on Amazon. All you got to do is Google me on Amazon, Dr. Robert J. Newton, up in the top left-hand space up there, that oblong box, and it will come up. And I'm going to be showing some of my other books as well. So I can do this. All the other shows I've done have been just audio. So now we're going to have fun with the video. All right. So as I said, when Jesus asked John the Baptist to baptize him, and John said, Master, I am not worthy of doing that because I baptize with the water, whereas you baptize with the fire. Has that you ever heard? Have you ever frickin' heard any minister talk about that? The only place you would have heard about that is a church that I attended, the coolest church, because I'm not a big fan of churches or religions. I'm a big fan of Jesus, and I'm a no fan of Christianity. And I could explain why. I don't know. I might get into it today a little bit. I'm not here to rain on your parade, but truth to me is, and accuracy is a substantial and guiding part of my life. I'm not interested in opinions. And almost literally, I would say 99.9%, or at least 98 to 99% of all my past shows, I don't know, are those shows still accessible, Rebel, or not? Do you know?
Which ones?
My past shows from the when I did the show before with you.
I believe they are.
Okay. All the stuff I said is at least 99, if not 100% accurate. I think one time I did go on the show, Rebel. I don't know if you remember, but I remember. And I was embarrassed. I told people that the forces of QAnon and the forces of the military were going to overtake the country of the United States and straighten things out. And this came from a source, and I'm still hearing this stuff. This came from a source that was, I consider, very reliable. I don't use unreliable sources. In fact, most people are more full of it than most of their ideas are about as worthwhile as rancid baloney. And I used to, well, I'm not going to knock baloney because I used to, and I think I'm going to start doing it again. When I was a kid, I used to fry the baloney and put some cheese in there and made the best damn sandwich I've ever had. My mouth is watering right now. I'm basically a vegetarian, but I might just have to eat that. Man, kosher. I might just have to eat that pork. Don't tell anybody, Rebel. Don't tell, please.
I won't tell. I won't tell. It's our secret.
And I want to talk about something that happened to Rebel, but she can stop me if she wants to. I don't want to do anything to. We're good friends, even though we've never met in person. So this fire is a cleansing element. I'll get back to the stream here. I do wander far afield, and I have a whole list of things right here. I have enough probably for 5 shows that I just wrote down last night. First, I was just going to do the show without doing that, and I go, nah, you better write it down so you can remember a lot of stuff. I mean, there's so many crazy things going on right now, but I can explain why they are, and I can give solutions to such as well, because I don't want to bring people down. Some of my solutions might seem extreme, but extreme times may call for extreme measures. All right. And in India, this is known very well. It's talked about in the Bhagavad Gita and the Paramahansa Yogananda translation on page 369. I still remember the page. And I remember the day I opened it up automatically to that page looking for some information about this. And I opened to the best part of the Bhagavad Gita, which is also part of the Mahabharata. And this is about the travails of Lord Krishna, who was a son. Listen to this. There's been other sons of God, by the way. Yeah, I know you don't think so. We're all sons and daughters of God. That's what this text I found, this 10-page text, it is the densest. It's even denser than my writing. Reading my writing, some people have said, well, your writing is kind of complex, but I actually got a compliment the other day from someone that's reading in this book, in the Shadow of a Master, The Unknown Chronicles of Jesus. And he's from Nigeria, and he says, I love your book. He says, your writing style is so unique, and it's so interesting, the things you found. So he's an Orthodox Christian, and he can handle it. The thing that we don't want to do, well, I mean, I guess most people do it. And I admit I did it until I was 35 years old. Okay. I crashed on my dirt motorcycle somewhere in the summer of 1981. I think it was around July, and I was going up this really steep hill that I love to go up, because the only way you could get to the top of this hill was to hit it really hard, because there was this big rock face, and it sent me flying up into the air. Whenever I'm in the air, I feel like it's better than any drug. The endorphins start kicking in, and it's a real high, except this wound up being there was a real low, because unbeknownst to me, there was another guy coming along the top of the hill where I came up. I'd probably gone up this hill several hundred times at least. On this particular day, this guy was going along about 50 miles an hour, or maybe even more, at the ridge of the hill where I was hitting, and I saw him out of the corner of my eye, and I go, oh shit, and I heard him say old shit. And he T-boned me and threw me on the ground like a rotten sack of potatoes. And man, it really messed me up. But it also woke me up too. It forced me. See, this is one of those things from the 39th name of God, the 72 names of God. I'll be talking about them all the time, but the 39th, because they're useful tools. And I actually have I don't have the book with me, I don't think. Do I also have that formula for healing in there, using the 72 names of God. If if someone asks me, I will go through the stream of those, because it's obvious. I'm not even going to get close to even getting done to what I planned for today. And I was actually having trouble sleeping last night, trying to figure out how I was going to do it. So, and that never happens. I usually go right to sleep. So the 39th name of God is Resh He Ayin. This is Hebrew, and it means finding the good in the bad. And I found a lot of good in that bad accident. But I got to tell you, I had internal bleeding. I could feel it. And you could say, well, how can you do that? Well, when you get in tune with your body, when you become a devoted Kriya Kundalini yogi, which is not a cult or anything, it's a yoga means union with God, and it's a way of breathing that takes you into the higher realms of the brain, including alpha at 7 to 13 hertz and theta at 4 to 7 hertz. And if I look off to the side, I'm not trying to ignore you. I do this when I'm starting to think, when I'm retrieving information. Right now, I'm getting stuff coming in. So I'm talking and I'm receiving information at the same time. And it's kind of a trick. It's kind of a touchy thing, but I've done it long enough. I've done it on the radio long enough. I've done it when I'm speaking at conferences long enough that I can do it. All right. So, getting back to the fire and the Bhagavad Gita. This was about the journeys of Lord Krishna, who came to fight the forces of evil. Lord Krishna also liberated 12,000 women from sexual slavery, and I'm going to be talking about that and pedophilia and stuff and all this disgusting crap going on in the border. Like President Trump said he could fix some of these things in 24 hours. I could as well. It would be hard and rough, but it would be effective, and it would stop the drugs and all that other crap. So anyway, as I said, Lord Krishna is the son of Lord Vishnu, the Lord God Vishnu, the triad of gods in Hinduism and Judaism and Christianity. We have Yahweh, Elohim, and Jehovah. And in that book, it talks about something called the intelligent cosmic vibration. So the intelligent cosmic vibration would be Om, A-U-M, which is a highly cymatic word. And what I mean by that it has very extremely high vibrational qualities, and that are even a part of the word Om, that makes the 9 geometric forms of creation. When you put it under a table of sand, those will occur. And those just coincidentally, just like perchance not, create the geometric forms on the Sri Yantra. Okay. So in there it says the intelligent cosmic vibration is composed of Yagna, which is fire, Agna, which is light, and Om, which I just described. I didn't even know what I was describing, where I was going, but this is how things work for me. So it's a central importance. This was given to us by Lord Krishna, and I'm glad it was put down in the Mahabharata and the Bhagavad Gita 5,100 years ago. And a lot of you might say, well, whoop-de-frickin-do, Jesus is everything. Well, just let me give you a little bit of hint. As per this book, which is a novel, I'm having to do weird things to get this on the screen. Anyway. I think if you start reading this book, it'll pull you in. I think that's what people have told me. And it seems like women like it the best, and I already knew they would, because they're more open-minded and they're more intelligent than men as a group. Okay, there's no doubt about it. And that's why I decided to write the book, which I knew I was going to do even before I finished In the Shadow of a Master. Why I've written the book that is basically completed. I'm just finishing up a few small things. Maybe today I will be done, tomorrow for sure, or I'll eat a bug. Because I expect high standards of myself. I expect me to be fruitful and accomplish a lot of things. And I guess the people that aren't like that are happier, but you ain't getting done what I'm getting done because I've created a structure that makes it happen. Okay, so this book is going to be on Amazon. It's as all my books are. It's going to be called. It's already called "In Search of the Real Mary Magdalene: From Prostitute to Apostle of the Apostles." And many of you may scoff and you might say, "Oh, come on, you're just making that shit up." But nah, I don't make shit up. I go and research and everything. I went into a bunch of Gnostic Gospels, and I also found this scripture called the. That's in that book. I copied the whole book of that. It's called the Sophia Jesus Christ, which means the feminine Jesus Christ. And also you'll learn from that book that the feminine is a real force of creation, not the masculine, the divine feminine or the Sophia God, okay, as opposed to the masculine God. So most of the stuff in Christianity that you've been given, a lot of the stuff was talked about how Jesus suffered on the cross for and all this stuff. But I know for a fact that he'd been initiated into Kriya Kundalini Yoga, and I chronicle it in my book, In the Shadow of a Master. And if he's and that he went into a state of Sarupa Samadhi, which means deathlessness. That's why I always had this huge halo around him. And so did Mary Magdalene. Thank you, Rebel. Thank you. There's a good picture of the book. See, she's worth her weight in gold to me. She knows what's going on. And that's really valuable to a talk show host to have someone. Many times during the show, she's looked stuff up for me, but I also have my phone here. I've gotten less lazy, so I've been using Google to use stuff. Here's a really cool product. I'm either going to be selling it or I'll probably have them as an advertiser. It's called Nutso, and yeah, I guess that's why I'm so damn nutty. It has cashews, almonds, Brazil nuts, flax seeds, chia seeds, hazelnuts, pumpkin seeds, and Celtic sea salt. And as a doctor of natural medicine, it don't get no better than this, okay? I just had one scoop of it. That's basically my meal this morning. And it's damn satisfying. It's like having food and dessert all in one. So now, getting back to the intelligent cosmic vibration, we see the importance then of fire, the yagna, and agna, the light, and om. And I've been initiated into some many Hindu mantras, and they all start with om. So right away, when you do that, then you are upgrading yourself, okay? You're getting out of the beta brainwave at 7 to 14 hertz, which is the monkey mind, which is the scattered, depressed, unhappy. Oh my God, my life's so bad. I don't know. I want to kill myself. I don't spend much time in that brainwave because if I do, I can get depressed too. So you can train your mind to easily get into the alpha level and into the theta level. And I teach that in some workshops I have coming up. Hopefully people are ready to host them and to learn the most useful thing that you'll ever learn in your life. For me, this is the way it was. My deceased wife, Charlotte Ann Newton Smith, who left me in 2013. she begged me to take her to this thing, and she said this workshop was by Yogi Govind and Satchidananda, and I said, "Oh, Kundalini, Schmundalini, I know everything about it, you know." And then she looked at me with those sad eyes, and she melted me, and I said, "Okay, yeah, I'll take you there. Maybe I'll learn something." Yeah, I was to find out really quickly. I learned a hell of a lot. Best move I ever made, and I was resisting it. And this is what happens. Why? When you keep your mind open, then you're not short circuiting the learning process, or at least the process of evaluation, right? So, and in the book, The Aquarian Gospel of Christ, Levi, the author, relates that Jesus felt that the rabbis, and I talk about it in my book, In the Shadow of a Master, Jesus felt that the rabbis had built a wall around their teachings and could not see over that wall. And because of that, I had the epiphany that that's why Jesus went on this journey of 17 years to Egypt, Greece, Tibet, Nepal, India, Kashmir, and a short touchdown in Sumer, which is where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers come together in Iran. Do we have any questions yet, or am I, or I don't see anything up on the screen?
We don't have any questions yet.
Oh, okay. I guess this is a soliloquy then.
No, they're wakening their ears again for the news.
Speak the speech I pray thee as I pronounce it to thee trippingly on the tongue. That's Shakespeare. I studied that for a year in college, and I hated that class, but now I love it because it taught me how to write a hell of a lot better. And this was probably the most important writer in the English language of all time, as well as Geoffrey Chaucer and John Milton, who I also studied, read, and we discussed with my beautiful English lit professor. I don't remember her name, but I can still feel it, see her face. I wish I'd had the courage to walk up to her and ask her out on a date, but I didn't. All those guys in the class were agog at how, no, I didn't say cock, agog. How beautiful she was. And I'm seeing it right now. And I would really like to give tribute to her in the forwards of my books, but I have not been able to find her name. God, it's going to come to me someday. And then I'm going to have to give myself 110 noogies like this. So
be careful with that.
Yeah, that hurt. Ouch! Damn it! Cuckoo, cuckoo. Okay. Well, a lot of the stuff I'm going to be sharing is really cuckoo. All right. So I forget where I was. I lost myself in the stream. But it's important to keep a pliable mind. I remember after that motorcycle accident, my wife wanted me to go to the hospital because I was forked up. I had internal bleeding, but I was a Christian Science healer, and I actually stopped that internal bleeding. But I was in a lot of pain for a lot of months after that. But I still worked. See, that's how I am. I could have sat there in bed and moaned all day. I went to work and moaned all day instead of my landscaping business. My employees were like looking at me like, "Oh, WTF, you know what's going on with this Looney Tune?" And so I went to, so she wanted me to go to the psychic, and that's the first thing that the psychic said. Her name was Gloria Jane. I just remembered it. That was back in July of 1985, and that was at the place called Cynetics, which is now called the Learning Light Center, I think, in Anaheim, California. And she said, and this was at a psychic fair, and I said, my wife, I told my wife, which psychic should I pick? And she says, you should do it. I said, no, you pick one out for me. She says, that older woman over there. She'll be good. And she was. Right away, she picked up. She didn't have to ask, uh, you know. I didn't ask her what happened. This is how you know when you have a good psychic. And I'm starting to do psychic readings again, too. And also, I need someone in the San Luis Obispo or Santa Barbara or Paso Robles area that can help me get my website up to updated and everything, to put in all the cool things that I've showed you today, some of them. Anyway, she told me, you've been in a bad motorcycle accident, haven't you? And I said, yes. She says, you are severe. You've been severely injured. Have you gone to the hospital? And I said, no. And it's true, I hadn't, and I didn't. And she said, well, you have severe internal bleeding. And I said, yes, I did have severe internal bleeding, and I could feel it. And she says, how could you feel it? I said, I just can't. This was the beginning of me acknowledging, I guess, my psychic abilities. Because as fantastic as Christian Science was, and I still love it to this day, Mary Bakeretti, the founder, who was the most awesome woman since Mary Magdalene, and might have even been a reincarnation, because she seemed to understand Jesus better than any of the babble I hear in churches today from ministers. And I said, she says, well, you need to go to the hospital right now. I said, well, I'm not going to go there. And so my wife was greatly in great consternation and fear about that, but I wasn't afraid. And you know, the 36th name of God is Hey Resh Chet, and in that 36th name, it means overcoming fear. And that right there, that name is right in the middle of the 72 names of God. And it is not just a freaking coincidence. It's not even close to a coincidence. That's what everything goes around. You know, after overcoming fear, the next name is Vava Blamud, making the impossible possible. If you overcome your fear, and I didn't have a fear about this accident, but I didn't even know about these names until decades later. If you overcome the fear, then it can't grab you, and it can't cause disease. So who does anyone want to tell me, please talk to me, please? I'm nice and I'm furry. Sometimes. Does anyone want to tell me what the word disease means? You need to conjugate it, dis and ease. Can anyone tell me?
Sounds like die is in there somehow.
No, this means not, and ease means, at ease. So not at ease. Okay. And this is how all disease is created. I'll do a whole program on it, possibly. It'll be a lot of work, but it'll be fruitful. It'll be worthwhile to do. So there was something that I wanted to, we're going to try and kind of go back, and I got a little blip of it, and now it left. Oh, well, there's plenty of things to talk about. I'm sure it'll come in the course of things. Let's see. So anyway, my Kriya Kundalini workshop is a 2-day thing. It's at www.positivelifewithyoga.com.
What was that again? www.
I'm writing it down. I'm sending it to you.
All right, sounds good.
See, I'm starting to use the technology. Wake up, levántate. That means wake up in Spanish. And I do this with my Hindu priest, a friend, Dr. Sam Paul, who has been studying the Uh, he was in a special school in India studying the Vedas and the Upanishads from the age of 5. And I have a lot of respect for him. He has a lot of respect for me. He says I'm a reishi, which means that's a great teacher. I take that as a compliment, but I don't let it go to my head because, as I said, I'm always know there's more out there to learn. And would anyone want to venture a guess why there's more out there to learn all the time? And it's not just because of the internet either. It's another answer.
In my personal opinion, it's like you always got to decide what you've been told and taught to be true, and then actually find out what is true.
Yeah, that's what I do, and that's what Rebel does too. Yes. Well, what was the question I asked?
Wow. About why we're always learning.
Oh, yes, why we're always learning. That's because the the creator, the Father, Mother God, the masculine God and the Sophia God, the feminine God, are learning themselves. And hence there's more. So we will never come to ultimate knowledge. I mean, they talk about the Big Bang Theory. Well, I'll explain sometime why the Big Bang wasn't how the universe was created. It's actually more, there's more information on that in that text that I talked about, the Gnostic text of Sophia, Jesus Christ, also known as the Secret Teachings of Jesus Christ. Okay, and you can find that at the Nag Hammadi Library. So Google it, and you can find it. I'm aghast. I'm like 76, and I wasn't raised on computers, and they annoy the shit out of me many times. I find it a quirky mishmash system of stuff that doesn't go together. And if I could learn coding, I could probably fit it together. The thing is, do I want to devote my time to doing it? I probably should, so I'd be less anguish in my life as I start swearing at my computer. Because I do. Because I hate things that are counterintuitive and not logic. I was trained in logic in my speech classes at Cal State Fullerton decades ago. Syllogistic logic. But even with logic has its limits because it's only as good as the accuracy of the major premise, which gives you the minor, which added to the minor premise gives you a conclusion. But it can be logically correct, but not factually correct. And I see people I had a neighbor that did that all the time. He was really good at logic, but all his logic was based on real shaky, if not completely non-existent foundation. And so in this course, and when you go there, don't be dissuaded. It said class canceled due to COVID or something. It says that on there. Go in there, and it gives a description of the benefits of doing this. And the benefits are so much that I would say, I was going to say you would be stupid. No, I don't want to insult you. You would be amiss. You would miss the mark by not doing so. You basically be initiated into 2 Sanskrit mantras, which will create that yagna and agna, that fire and light in your body that will sustain it. You will, and also I want to point out, as per my book, this one, The Immortality Prophecy. There's been research that shows that at least 30% of the energy from a body comes from non-food caloric sources. So to me, that pretty much pretty much leads to atomic force, which is atoms are basically electrical charges that are yagna and agna, fire and light. Go figure. Isn't that a coincidence? No, it's a intricately, a simply intricately designed universe. And in my book, A Map to Healing, I give you the proof that there is an intelligent force to the universe. So everything was created within the parameters of 0.0004% of 1%. So it's minuscule. It's really small as per the strong nuclear force, the electromagnetic field. And if things aren't within that parameter, then nothing on the Earth exists, including us. So that's one way that you know that there's an intelligent design to the universe, a creator of sorts. And another way you know is through Valerie P. Kondratov's geometry of a uniform field, where there is a deep narrative about the 9 geometric forms of creation and everything. And also that information I want to give credit to about the small parameters in which creation exists is from Dr. Hugh Ross, the Christian physicist. So he's one who's not allowed his existing beliefs to keep him from seeing over the wall. Tear down the wall, tear down the wall. Where was that place where they played the trumpets and the wall fell down in the Old Testament? Was it Jericho? That might have been. And the reason that wall fell down is because of the cymatics of vibrations from those trumpets were causing a weakening and discombobulation of the walls of the place. And I played the trumpet for many years, and it is a wild instrument. It's got all kinds of overtones and things in it, and it's those overtones, I believe, that probably knocked that wall down. This could be done with waves. It could be done with a laser. What the laser does is it stimulates the atoms inside of something and makes them move faster, and then it becomes less strong or it becomes weakened. All right. So anyway, I teach you Kriya Dhyana, which is 6 structured meditations, which I really didn't like, but I must admit they help you focus your mind in a way that is needed, especially on this battle and on this place called Earth, which is basically a learning school. You know, everyone's afraid of dying, and it really cracks me up because I've been up into those dimensions. Like I said, I spent almost all my time in Theta and even Upper Delta. Even right now, I'm pretty much there. And it cracks me up. Those places that's where heaven resides. And everyone's worried about whether they're going to heaven. Well, pretty much everyone is. But you might have to come back to Earth if you haven't been a good enough boy or girl. So maybe that's my plight too. Maybe that's why I'm so fanatic about accomplishing things and trying to help humanity at large. I mean, I really could have gone a long time ago because I've already accomplished a lot. But various people carnate and discarnate, including angels and things like that, have begged me to stay. But when I see what's going on inside my government in the United States and even all over the world, it makes me not want to be here. I'm not going to go into that today, though, but I'm not afraid of it. So then you'll learn Kriya Kundalini Pranayama, which is 6 extended breathing meditation techniques, okay, that puts you immediately, the second you start doing this, you're going to go at the worst, you're going to go into alpha level, which is 7 to 13 hertz. It's a creative realm. It's a pleasant, harmonious realm. It's a realm where psychic abilities start really opening up and things like that. And then you're going to get the 2 mantras, the Mahamrittyunjaya mantra and the Gayatri mantra. I might close the show doing one of those. Oh, wow, I just need to look and see how much time I even have.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Holy crap-a-totally. Man, time
flies.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some crows outside. Caw, caw! Flying away. Cuckoo, cuckoo. Yes, I'm very uninhibited. I don't drink and I don't need it. I'm crazy as hell without any drugs or alcohol. And
that's what I tell people. I'm naturally like this.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you can learn all that stuff. I just want to acknowledge that Rebel went through a horrible. Can I talk about the storm that took out your house?
Sure.
Or maybe you talk about it. You talk about it.
Well, we all know about that grand old Ida bitch. Oh no, she knocked me for a loop there. You know, of all the hurricanes that came through, and I, stayed and worked through them and all of that good stuff. Ida cost us almost everything.
Yeah. And so everything she had was wiped out. And then people wondered why her gyroscope was out, because she flipped out. And I understand completely. And I think I'm the only one that did. She had to retreat. And some people were pissed off. I wasn't pissed off. I was just wanted my engineer. The best one I ever had.
I'm back in the saddle again. So
yeah, she's back in the saddle again. And so also I want to tell you, I haven't looked at the radar maps of that, but I'm sure that they were screwing with that hurricane with scalar waves, and scalar waves are ELF, extra low frequency, that can really churn up the weather and make, and that front was stationary for a long time, wasn't it?
Yes.
And okay, that's completely freaking not. It's not how weather works. Weather's dynamic. It doesn't sit there. You know, they did that in Houston. They did that in North Carolina. Yeah, these people are something else. Okay, so, all right, we're almost done. So I'm going to do the Gayatri mantra. Thanks for listening. Tell your friends. Please buy my products. Oh, that mat that I showed you is $799 plus $50 shipping. But if you order it this week, and you can go to my PayPal at thetaphoria.com. Go to my Facebook page, Robert.Newton3. Then I will lead you there. I will lead you to there. I don't have the nutso in stock right now. Okay, so this is my prayer to you. Om Bhurbuva Suvaha Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasaya Dhimahi Dio Yona Prachodiyat. All right, namaste, shalom, salam alaikum.